In the last lecture, we see the four models: range created supply, range created demand, pivot created supply, and pivot created demand. Now, how we can use these models and mapping out the chart, and based on this mapping out, how we have to enter into the market. Let's see the first model, that is the range created supply. You can see here the price is fluctuates between these 2 points and it makes this high and the low, and we just mapping out based on this high and low. There is a sideways correction in this chart and this is our range, and suddenly you can see the volume comes into the market and the price is far away from this supply zone, right? So there is a huge volume in this candle. Now the price is written back into the correction form. So this is our trade point where we have to enter into the market, and the move is again the strong in the downward direction. So this is our range created supply model. Now on the flip side, for the range created demand, the price is fluctuates between these 2 points. It makes the highs and it makes the lows. Now based on this high and low, you can map out the chart. Suddenly the volume comes into the market in the upward direction, right? And the price is far away from this demand zone. Now it came back in correction form at the fair value. Now again the volume comes into the market exactly at this point and price is move away from this demand zone. That's called the range created demand. Now we discuss about how you have to draw the range created supply and range created demand in the pivot form. Now what is pivot? So generally pivot is a modification of range. There are so many candles exactly at this point. Now you can modify this range in pivot. You can see here there is a sharp move in the downward direction. Again there is a bullish move and this is the pivot. This is called pivot. The sharp move in the upward direction and true expansion in the downward direction. Similar for this pivot created supply. There is a sharp move in the upward direction and true expansion in the downward direction. Again the price is in correction and exactly from fair value it also moves in the downward direction. So this is called pivot. So this is a single candle pivot created supply, or for similar on the flip side, this is the pivot created demand, or this is a single candle creation. There is a sharp move in the downward direction and true expansion in the upward direction, right? So now this is our range created supply. This is the pivot created supply based on the single candle. But if you have a multiple candles, right? So for multiple candle, you can use the last two bullish candles for mapping out the zone. On the flip side, you can use the last two bearish candle to mapping out the zone. This is the sharp move in the downward direction and true expansion or rapid expansion in the upward direction. Then price came back in correction form, and again from fair value the market is moves into the upward direction. That is called the pivot zone creation. This is range demand, right? So you can modify this range into the pivot. This is the sharp move in the downward direction, true expansion in upward direction. There is a sharp move in the upward direction, true expansion in the downward direction. So that is the range is modified into the pivot. Now, similar for the multiple candle creation, there are two candles which is bullish. So this is the sharp move in the upward direction and true expansion in the downward direction. And on the flip side, sharp move in the downward direction and true expansion in the upward direction. So you can mapping out the zone based on this range or pivot. Either you can take the complete area, or this is a generalized form, or you can definitely turn into the modified way, or you can also draw exactly on the pivot. It's based on you how you have to see the chart and what is the chances to get into the trade. So in next video we see the example of range created supply, pivot created supply, range created demand and pivot created demand, how you have to draw based on this model. And last thing you have to consider while you draw the chart based on the range, you have to consider the 4 to 6 candles to mapping out the zone, right? You have to find out where is the true expansion comes into the chart based on the sharp move, right? So you can see here there is a multiple candles, but where is the sharp move? There is a sharp move exactly at this point. There is a sharp move in the upside and true expansion into the downward direction. You can modify this range exactly into pivot based on this, right? But for now we just make it as it is because this is the generalized form of the range supply. So this is the 4 to 6 candle you have to consider while you draw the chart based on the range. So that's it. In next video we see the examples of these models.